Okay, so what is a hormone? So basically, a hormone is a chemical secreted by a gland, the cell of a gland or whatever. So it's a chemical that is dumped into the blood, and it acts on a distant target. So a distant target cell. Okay. So here we have a blood vessel, and here's our little hormone chemical floating around along the bloodstream. So if we have cells here, so I'll make some cells. And try to get the same color. It's not quite the same color. But here, these are cells. We've got nuclei, whatever. Okay, so here's cells, and here's this hormone coming through the blood, and it will affect any cell that has a receptor for it. So this is the receptor. And the hormone will come in and it will link to that receptor. And when it does that, it will have some kind of effect on the cell. It will cause it to do some kind of action. So the action will depend on the type of hormone. Okay? The action depends on the type of hormone. There are basically 3 types of hormones. So we have steroid hormones. We have amine hormones. And we have peptide hormones. And the action of these hormones is a little different, and we're going to talk specifically about what they do. So the target in the endocrine system for hormones is basically general, but it's also specific. It's sort of general and specific at the same time. So if you look at it as, if we look at, say, a neuron, so if we look at the nervous system, you have your nervous system, you have your axon here, you have your axon terminals, terminal here, like that. And those, they secrete out neurotransmitter, and it goes to, a cell. This one goes to another cell. Okay, so it's very specific. So the target is very specific. It's one thing that the axon can only go, its little terminals can only go to one thing each. But a hormone is general in that it's going to bind to all cells. Hormones will bind to all cells that have a receptor. So it's general. But in a way, it's specific as well, in that it will only be a cell, only a cell that has that receptor will be affected. So the effects only occur on cells that have a receptor. So it's general in its targets, but it's specific as well, because if a cell doesn't have a receptor for that hormone, it is not going to be affected by it. So these cells, this cell here, just as an example, they are not going to be affected by this hormone. Only the cell that has the receptor. All right, so in the next video, we're going to talk about steroid hormones.